It's like, okay, so like you were talking about the energy. I like how you brought the altitude in there, because I like to look at it as temperature.
Okay.
But altitude also, it works because because I believe a lot in manifestation, right? Like is like I know. You know what I'm saying? It's not what I think or believe. Like I know because I've done it. I've tested it so many times, and it's an exercise. For me, manifestation, it's a muscle. It's like a muscle that you have. If you use it, you exercise it, it gets stronger and stronger, and your capability in what you can manifest becomes greater and greater. Most people just don't believe it, therefore they do not exercise that muscle, right? Just like that third eye. But I believe in that temperature that people have, or that altitude, like you put it. So if I'm flying high, like you said, right, or I have a temperature that's, I'm up there, I'm hot, and I'm positive, and I believe in these things, and then I get around somebody that their altitude is low, right, or their energy is low, or their manifestation ability is weak, that person is gonna start not only doubting me, but just like when you put hot water with cold water, you're gonna get something in the middle. You're gonna get like room temperature water. So you got to be careful with who you put yourself around, because their energy gonna affect your energy. Their temperature gonna affect your temperature. Their altitude gonna affect your altitude. So if you're having a conversation that's high IQ, and you trying to talk to somebody that's way down here, now you got to meet them in the middle. Right. You got to dumb it down, and they still ain't gonna get you. So it's a pointless conversation, right? At this point, because they're not getting you, and now you operating lower than you normally function, rather than being inspired to be higher, right? So something I want to say about like what you mentioned about women, I think something that's fundamentally missing in our current society, right? How we socially interact with each other as human beings is either bringing value to each other or increasing value in one another, right? All we know is how to extract value from one another. We don't know how to give it or how to increase it in the other person. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that. When you first meet a woman, right, there's gonna be curiosity. I don't know her, she don't know me. You gonna ask her questions. She gonna ask you questions. When you first meet somebody, especially of the opposite sex, majority of the conversation in the beginning is question asking and answering. You should be able to gauge what type of woman this is right off the bat by the type of questions she's asking you. Right. A lot of times women ask, what do you do for a living? It's like, see, baby, look, I see what you're trying to do, trying to count my pockets. Stop that. Stop that. Don't worry about that. That damn sure ain't what you need to be asking me in the beginning. You're turning me off. Right. Now, they'll be quick to assume, oh, he must be broke. You sure that's what it is? Or I'm testing your character and you failing. But if a woman comes to you and she asks you what your purpose is before she asks you how much money you make, or what, because when they say what do you do for a living, really what they're trying to figure out is how much you make, how much money, what's your earning potential, so they know how to classify you, therefore how they're going to deal with your ass. That's what they're really trying to do, figure out how do I handle this dude. But if she's asking you questions that sing to the tune of what is your purpose, now this is a beautiful thing, because if she's saying this to a man that knows his purpose, right there we can start figuring out, is this a man I want to support? Is this a man I want to encourage? Right? Is this a man I want to uplift and be a helpmate to? Right. And if he doesn't have or know what his purpose is, he now knows he needs to figure it out, so that the next time a quality woman asks him that, he got an answer.
You know what? You just said some key things, and I want to touch on some of that real fast. Well, actually, I want to ask you a question about it. So as we see, the women of social media now, and how the women is being betrayed, and how they're speaking out, and all this here, and how the man is being demasculated and to, kind of be on some beta. In 2022, what is a woman's purpose, brothers?
Well, a woman's purpose has always and will always remain the same.
But now be careful what you about to say.
No. It's I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, what's a woman's purpose?
A woman's purpose on this planet is to be a helpmate.
That's
the
exact word I was going to use, but I didn't want to steal
it from
you. Go ahead.
But you just used the word, so that's why I bring it up.
But they're not really trying to hear the word help these days. They don't want to hear that.
I know, but what are they doing without it though? You give them all the money, you give them all the success and all the blah blah blah, and what do they do with it?
But I made mention the other week at the end of the show that this world cannot continue without a man and a female relationship. As much as we wanted to go to the woman or the man or whatever the case is, it cannot continue to dwell and manifest into what it's supposed to be without a true male female relationship.
Now, you talking as far as like them getting pregnant, or
I'm talking like, in general.
Okay, you talking about, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a reason why a man goes out and a woman goes in.
Somebody else. I just had a woman say that too to me. Okay, come on.
Yeah, we compliment each other.
But it's a reason. It's a reason why the real Trinity is in shape of a triangle, which is a representative of a female's organ.
So what you saying that, and I hate to just jump all over the place, but you are a more traditional man then by you making those statements.
I am a real man. Traditional, whatever you want to categorize it as, I'm a real man. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at other brothers and be like, hey, I wonder what if. I don't do that. I am a man. You know what I'm saying? And so I look at the female how I should look at a female.
So what I'm saying is you're the type of brother that's gonna pursue a female.
Absolutely.
She ain't got to pursue you, or it ain't got to be none of that.
How would that even work?
Well, I mean, we in a different space. We're in a different space these days.
I've heard several gentlemen who say that.
I don't chase them, me personally.
Right. Well,
it depends on what you consider chasing, though.
Right. Because you know what I'm saying. So I look at it from a perspective of, I'm a man. I know my job is to hunt. Right.
Okay.
And so I'm going to hunt. Now, what tools I'm going to use to hunt?
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Is the question.
There's different hunting strategies.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I can use my mind to hunt. I can use the tongue. You know what I'm saying? And when I say the tongue, I'm not talking about the sexual tongue. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Conversation rules the nation. Right. Or I could use tangible things. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what bait to use now.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Tools.
So I know at this point in 2022, finna be 2023, a woman is more pursuing her eyeball. Right? And so I know what to wear, I know how to act, I know what to say. I know all of that stuff at this point in my life. At 43, I know what I need, I know what bait to use now. And then once I get them hooked, now I know how to vet them and whether to
throw it back
or keep it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so you know what I'm saying. And I trust me. You know, I wasn't always at this point because I've gone through some very topsy-turvy relationships. You know what I'm saying? I've gone through 5-6 years of a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Wasted time.
Yeah, trust me.
You know what I'm saying?
What have we learned?
but of course, our brother Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? He used to tell us all the time, it don't take a man that long. You know what I'm saying? And I know for a fact it doesn't take a man 2, 3, 4, 5 years to know if he want to keep that woman.
Right.
Okay.
Don't take a day to recognize sunshine.
Brother what is a woman's purpose?
Well, I mean, listen, I agree 100% that it's to be a helpmate. It's just we've all been conditioned, man. All of this that you see, what they call the matrix, whatever you want to call it, it's one big conditioning machine. And you have all these people that only think what they've been programmed to think. And just like you said, you got people that haven't even left their own damn city. And that's why it's so difficult to break the programming. So if you go somewhere else, you realize that what you thought the structure and the system was just your opinion. It's just how they did it there. Doesn't mean that that's the right way, the only way, or whatever, right? But then you start seeing the commonalities. You start seeing across the board what universally works. So when you said, are you a traditional brother? You see, it's like, I like that you said that so we can address it. Because when you say these things that make sense because they always have made sense, they've always worked, people are quick to put you in the box of, traditional, which is just another word of saying outdated, which is another way of saying needs to be updated and replaced. And that's what they've sold the modern woman on. And because, like Tupac said, the men want what the women want because the men want the women. So whatever song the woman is dancing to, the man gonna be like, yeah, that's my joint too. So once they get the women to identify with this nonsense, now you're gonna have all these guys, acclimate into that because they want the chick.
Right.
So it's like, whatever I gotta say, whatever I gotta wear, whatever. Okay, cool, because I just want the girl, right? And that is not the natural order of things. The natural order of things is the man leading, and the man leading from a place of understanding, a place of experience, and then a place of what knowledge is coming from his forefathers. Now, you might call that tradition, but the point is that your forefathers already knocked the kinks out with this. We know that this works. It's tested and proven.
Right.
So we handing this down to you because we've gotten this far. Now you need to take the baton and go further with it. But for you to be sitting here questioning and reevaluating what has worked up until this point, that's a waste of time.
Right.
And that's what they got us doing. So, and I'm saying all of that as to say that women are conditioned to think that being in the supportive role is somehow limiting to them. It's somehow, slavery or something like that. It's oppressing them. And it's like, they're not basing that on actual experience or what women from the past that have had successful families and legacies have told them. They're basing that on what the media is telling them, on what the powers that be is telling them. Right? So now they're looking at the man as something to compete with rather than something to work with.
Well, let's keep it real, because monogamy is really a westernized.
Of course.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? That's a westernized weapon. Because if you go back east, if you go back to India, you go back to Africa, you go back to the Eastern world, they don't do the monogamy. They have become to, because most been captured and colonialized,
right?
And so now the monogamy is Christianity has spread across, and so now you have everybody having these Christian.
That's not
beliefs.
even a Christian thing, but I see what you're saying. They put that in there, but that wasn't originally there.
But back in the day, and even still to this day, even out west in Africa, the majority parts of Africa, they still have concubine. They still have 4, 5, 6 different wives.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we have just been conditioned by the West to think about men or women from a perspective of, I only want to be with you.
Or obligated to, entitled to. And trust me, I've had this argument with so many different women. And I love to have it because they're setting themselves up thinking that they're gonna win this argument. Because I'm not finna go back and forth with you with the nonsense. I'm just gonna do what my grandfather would have did and point out some facts that we must agree on that prove that your thought process is flawed. Right. Because I'll let women sit here and tell me that they refuse to share a husband and they refuse to share a man and all this other kind of stuff. And I'll let them go ahead and talk their nonsense. And then I'll say, but okay, you do realize that there are more single mothers in the community than they are fathers. They won't understand what I'm trying to say. There are more women that have children in any age demographic than there is men. Now, how is that possible? Because the women are having children by men that have children by other women. So you won't share a husband, but you'll share a baby daddy. Ooh. What sense does that make?
It goes even deeper than that, though, because of course in the world there's more women than men.
Okay.
But even if that weren't the case, what I'm saying is the women select the best option in men that they can get. Yeah. So what happens is those men have multiple options, and you already know we're not designed to be with one woman, and we have a hard time just focusing on the one woman. So those guys end up exercising their options anyway, whether it's socially accepted or not. So now what happens is you make a dishonest man of him because now he has to hide that. And God forbid he has a child with her. Now he has to choose one family over the other, and the children are going to be neglected. But if this was, understood and it was accepted, he could now marry both of those. In fact, if I'm being 100% honest, what a lot of women don't realize is that when you replace polygamy with this monogamy, and you make polygamy is something that's, you know, shamed or shunned, right? What actually happens is the rules of engagement now for one-on-one relationships deteriorate. Let me explain. So now what you have is guys engaging with women, just like, you know, having a good time, like, you know, getting to know each other. Right. And then the premarital sex is happening. And then before you know it, the unwanted pregnancy comes, and now you have a child out of wedlock. Okay, well, why? Because you're forcing men to have this ultimatum: either get married or stay a virgin. That's not the case anymore. So what happens is they end up fooling around, and they're not technically committing to anything. They're not taking on the responsibility and accountability for having this irresponsible sex. Right. Now, in a society that understands and accepts polygamy, the rules of engagement now have integrity. They have rules. It's like, you want a woman? Yeah, I want a woman. Okay, be an earner, be a provider, be a protector. Now, if you step to that woman and you want that woman, she's yours. Right. She's your responsibility. You have to provide for her. Okay, I did that, and it's great and all. I love my wife, but I really kind of, you know, oh, I know you want another wife, right? Yeah, I didn't want to say so, but no, it's okay. You're allowed to have another wife. Really? Right. Yeah, but you have to follow the same fucking rules all over again. So now you have to engage her again with integrity. You have to be honest. You have to be on the level. There ain't gonna be no fooling around all this. Get to know her, decide whether or not you want her. Yeah, man, I really like her. I want her. You know what you gotta do, right? Yep. Gotta earn a little bit more money. I gotta go ahead and marry her too. Right. Yep. You gotta take care of her too. You gotta take care of those kids too. All right. So how you feeling? Exhausted, man. You know, I got these 2 wives. I got these kids to take care of. My second wife is pregnant now. Okay, I'm glad you're happy. Well, I didn't say that. I mean, I'm happy, but I kind of sort of like this little young thing over there. You know what you got to do, right? I know, earn more money, be more of a provider, step to her with integrity, get to know her, decide whether or not I want her, then marry her, take care of her too, and other children that might come from that union. Yep. You know what you got to do. But you see what I'm trying to say? Right. Now there's responsibility, there's accountability in the interaction between the man and the woman. Right. And it ain't this free-for-all that we're doing now. And we don't have all these bastard children running around out of wedlock and they don't know their daddy. You see what I'm saying? Now we have communities now.